Now we look at 2022. I want to tell my Republican friends, get ready, pal. You're going in for a problem. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
One of the problems that the left has is that leftism actually doesn't work. Every time it's tried, it makes things worse. Homelessness gets worse, the poverty gets worse, the inequality gets worse. And under leftism, you only have the poor and the powerful. That's all you have. Where under capitalism, you have this graded step. They've got to distract us. They've got to be telling us that we hate each other. They've got to make us hate each other. They've got to do all this stuff to keep our eyes off the fact that it doesn't work. Yeah. All you have to do is let people be free. All you have to do is let them build their businesses, cut their taxes a little bit, draw back on the regulations. This country just explodes with creativity.
One thing the president doesn't want to do from the very beginning is face me, because I will beat him, period. And he knows it, and he knows I'm going to be able to point it out. And I can hardly wait to debate him. I need you to get vaccinated when it's your turn and when you can find an opportunity.
See this right here? 8282.
Mr. President, you said if you are fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask. And it seems
you're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. If you've been fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask. Let me repeat. If you are fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask. Forward looking to have an opportunity to sit with the president or stand with the president in debates. There can be plenty of time. And by the way, as I joke with him, you know, I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say. Anyway, I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Candidate for president in this race is walking off the plane, arriving in Florida just moments ago. Former Vice President Joe Biden. He's there to try to court Latino voters. Polls are showing President Trump is making gains with them, particularly with Cuban Americans.
As First Lady Dr. Jill Biden spoke, the president lost interest and then just wandered away, Laura. But when you really turn up the audio, Biden's distraction becomes far more understandable. Watch.
Secretary Cardona and Mayor Bowser.
Chocolate chip.
With their most likely area of employment. They may say they want to go and, I don't know, do whatever, but it may not be their skill that they acquired in the military may not in any way enhance that piece. Am I making sense? Okay. All right, sorry.
And there are some great...
You got to ask me some easy questions here, I mean.
What a moron. I don't think anyone's going to ask any easy questions, sir.
How many times is he going to play with his mask, too?
There,
Shit.
Both government...
Don't worry about it. Be more concerned about influenza, which is going into a second peak for the season, than coronavirus. People wearing masks now is just not relevant. You don't need to be walking around with a mask. Drugstore masks that sell have a lot of loopholes in them that let the virus through.
You're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people. Outside, yes, sir. Agreed. Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with nobody will show up. People with masks before COVID.
Yeah, but because what he did, even before COVID, manufacturing went in the hole. Manufacturing went in the hole.
Excuse
number
me,
one.
Chris. Wait.
Number two.
Chris,
number three.
They said it would take. No, you're number two. Chris.
You said it, Tiffany. He said, don't move. Don't sell your house because no Ohio factory will shut down in Donald Trump's America. He doesn't pay his fair share. Don't worry about that.
For liberals, that AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren would actually be controlling policy, that this would become the most liberal administration in U.S. history.
He'd love to run against them, wouldn't he? Mr. President, to run against Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a deep, steep, and successful record over a long, long time. Get the gun, yeah. The whole team, man.
In that period of time.
Yes.
And when you look at this entire curve with all these spikes, can you calculate how much of a vote that accounted for Biden and how much for Trump?
Close to 600,000. I think our figures were about 570 some odd thousand that all those spikes represented over time.
For Biden?
Correct.
And how much for Trump?
I think it was a little over 3,200.
Election reform. How are you going to keep it from us being able to be in a position where you can manipulate the machines, manipulate the records? The one way to do that is, I think we should pass a federal law mandating that the same machines with paper trails be mandatory for every federal election.
Would be now that you're president and you're saying there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months. What happened to 2 months ago when you were talking declaratively about I am going to shut down the virus?
Well, I'm going to shut down the virus, but not.
Oh, what happened to the answer? Hey. What's the answer?
I carry a card in my pocket with the number of Americans who have died from COVID to date. It's on the back of my schedule. As of now, total deaths in America, 527,726. That's more deaths than in World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and 9/11 combined.
All right, Halls of Justice fans, take a listen. He actually said it. This was just today at 3:31 p.m., his big 100 million vaccine shot goal press conference. Take a listen right here. Take a listen.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in
When President Harris and I,
Is
did
Joe
you hear
Biden
it?
already the worst president in U.S. history? There was a tragic inevitability about yesterday's terror attacks. In fact, we were warned about it. 13 U.S. servicemen died, around 90 civilians, and it's believed that around 150 others were wounded. First, it's the first U.S. troop deaths since February 2020. Now, Joe Biden is trying to blame Trump, saying he negotiated with terrorists and set a deadline that tied his hands. Whilst that may be true, it wasn't Donald Trump who turned the Taliban from a ragtag bunch of AK-47 wielding militiamen into an incredibly well-equipped fighting machine. Joe Biden's incompetence means that the Taliban has been left with $85 billion worth of American military equipment, 75,000 vehicles, 200 aeroplanes and helicopters. The Taliban now has more Black Hawk helicopters than 85% of the world's countries, apparently. They're a few pilots away, frankly, from having a formidable air force, aren't they? They have night vision goggles, body armour, medical supplies, and even biometric devices with fingerprints and eye scans of Afghans who helped the US troops in the last 20 years. So Biden armed them and then handed their targets to them on a silver platter. To be fair, we've done something similar. The betrayal of our Afghan interpreters was already palpable, but it was given another shameful nail in the coffin as it emerged that we left documents scattered around our embassy with the names and contact details of interpreters and indeed the CVs of people who applied for interpreter jobs. Joe Biden vowed to hunt down and find ISIS-K terrorists and make them pay for the attack yesterday. So there is now a very real possibility that US troops will be sent on assassination missions to Afghanistan where they will come under fire from their own weapons, which were handed to them. Donald Trump didn't do that. Joe Biden did. Donald Trump wanted to make America great again. Joe Biden has made the Taliban great again. The rescue mission will end today. We're being told that no more people than those already on the fly list will be able to leave Afghanistan. As that final plane takes off, leaving behind millions of innocent civilians, a Taliban more powerful than ever before, and streets painted with the blood of US and UK troops who died for nothing, let this be a lesson to us all. Trying to bring Western liberal democracy to countries like Afghanistan doesn't work. It's questionable whether or not the people even want it. It costs lives, it costs money, it costs us our reputation, our dignity, our standing on the world stage. That is not a price worth paying.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
20 years and 6 months old, getting ready to come home from frickin' Jordan to be with his wife to watch the birth of his son. And that feckless, dementia-ridden piece of crap just sent my son to die. And I just want all you Democrats who cheated in the election or who voted for him legitimately, you just killed my son. My name is Kathy McCullum. My son was Riley James McCullum. You can check it out. His wife, she might not want me to say her name. They just got married on February 14th, and they're expecting a baby on September 26th.
This didn't have to happen.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're, no, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people, if your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon, or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I know there's a border crisis like never before, and inflation is the worst it's been in like 13 years, and gas prices are the highest it's been in like 8 years, and there's Afghanistan. But we do have to give it to Joe Biden. He is uniting America.
Fuck Joe Biden! 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 Fuck Joe Biden!
Oh, I'm here for that. Record this in front of the house, please.
Fuck Joe Biden! Fuck Joe Biden!
I think I'm finally starting to understand the most popular president in U.S. history thing. But remember, it's not just dangerous. Screaming Biden may also be illegal. Experts warn that in addition to the violent incitement caused by screaming expletives at the president, such threats may also be criminal. By Eugene Bitchvets, PhD, they them. The response to every tweet should be, F Trump. Who raised these kids that are chanting hashtag F Biden? Thanks Biden, thanks Obama, F Trump. To chant F Biden, you'd have to be the lowest anti-American bottom trash known to man.
Vaccinated.
We've got to get them vaccinated, and hopefully they will do it willingly.
I think we really need to make it clear that there are privileges associated with being an American.
We have to be more blunt, we have to be more forceful.
If you do not want to get vaccinated, you can work from home. You can homeschool your children. You can shop online. So where is this coming from? People saying,
being dead isn't as scary as people think. You have plenty of time to relax, play some Frisbee, and vote. People call us dead, departed, expired, gone, passed away, but we prefer deceased Americans. We've been advocating for deceased rights for years, but did you know dead people didn't even have the right to vote until 1980? And we're not even a minority. Yeah, when you think about it, most of the people that have ever been alive are dead now. They're just buried underground. So really, we're the silent majority. But we want to make our voices heard. And of course we voted for Biden. He closely represents our values. because he's the closest to being dead.
Trump doesn't even acknowledge you unless you have a heartbeat. That's deceased phobic.
Although with the way Trump talks sometimes, I feel like he wants more dead people. Which honestly, I'm all for.
We can rule together and bring a new order to the galaxy.
Don't do this, Ben. Please don't go this way.
No, you're still holding on!
About that, with, just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talks to like 67 financial expert about that, with just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talks to like 67 financial expert about that, with just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that
Raising the debt limit is paying our old debts.
Hey, is this Capital One? Hey, yep, my name is Joseph, but you can call me Brandon. But I inquired about a credit line increase online. Okay, you guys got that? Alright, and I was wondering, with that raising, that's going to pay off my balance too, right, with a higher credit limit? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, great. Alright, thank you. Yep, bye.
If tomorrow the order goes out from I'm President of the United States, I issue an order, end the war today, begin to withdraw all American troops. It will take a year to get the American troops out. Do you hear me now? That's the truth. It will take a year to get them physically out. Now, if you leave all the equipment behind, you might be able to do it in 7 months. And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday.
Sir, what is the state of your health after this exam today?
Good. I feel great. I'm looking forward to celebrating my 58th birthday.
And so you know who sponsors the news, right?
By Pfizer. CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay. So this was a serious tweet that they put out. And they said, thanks, Joe Biden, because the gas prices, you can see this line. Look at this steady decrease down here of gas prices over the last week. Mm-hmm. So they're coming up here, they're coming from 340 over here, and they're going down to 338. Thanks, Joe Biden. This is the actual chart for the gas prices, and this goes back 18 months. And you can see there's a pretty sharp increase right here. It just keeps increasing and keeps increasing. And right up here at the top right, this little spot right here, that's what they zoomed in on to say thanks, Joe Biden. You see this thing right here where it just keeps going up and up and up and up this whole time? They zoomed in right here on this little spot to say thanks, Joe Biden. Let me zoom in for you. They zoomed in right here on this little spot right here to say
watch
thanks,
the video
Joe Biden.
production for this. It makes it funnier. If you're not watching the video, you're missing out, folks.
It's very, very important stuff.
How much do you pay attention to approval ratings?
Well, not anymore. No, I'm joking.
Voice sounds a little different. Are you okay?
I'm okay. I have a test every day to see a COVID test. They check me for all the strands. What I have is a 1.5-year-old grandson who had a cold who likes to kiss his pop. And he'd been kissing it anyway.
Thank you for your service to our country. And I just want to tell you, I know you're a little younger than I am, but, I've adopted the attitude of the great Negro at the time pitcher in the Negro Leagues, went on to become a great pitcher in the pros, into the Major League Baseball after Jackie Robinson. His name was Satchel Paige. And Satchel Paige, on his 47th birthday, pitched a win against Chicago. And all the press went in and said, Satch, it's amazing. 47 years old. No one's ever pitched a win at age 47. How do you feel about being 47? He said, boys, that's not how I look at it. I said, how do you look at it, Satch? I said, I look at it this way. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? I'm 50 years old, and the ambassador's 47. But all kidding aside, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for your service during World War II, as well as your service as an ambassador. And thank you for raising such a fine man, Tony Blinken, our Secretary of State.